Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. I don't know what the plan is here, but we still cannot get a concrete answer from House Republicans. Look, I want to give them all the credit that they deserve. They're doing a good job in terms of the investigation, but the question I'm asking myself is, are we not there yet? Is there not enough evidence? Here's Jim Jordan on the matter of impeachment of Joe Biden and Merrick Garland.
Revelations about Biden's $10 million Ukraine bribery scheme warrant impeachment. Let's talk about the big guy. What are you going to do about it?
Well, that may be the question too. It may not be about the Attorney General so much, although I think there's some important things there. It could be more about the president himself. Again, that's why Chairman Comer is going to continue to pursue his investigation. He's looking to get Hunter Biden's business partner, Devon Archer, in for a transcribed interview, in for a deposition where we can have it under oath, get that all in the record. He's been trying to get that done. There's been a number of times it's been rescheduled. Hopefully that happens soon and we'll get that information. And then, of course, we'll see where we go from there.
He's not saying they're not going to do it, but he's not exactly committing to it. Maybe it's part of the strategy. Maybe they're still trying to work their way through this whole thing. But if the reporting that we're getting now is accurate, and Devon Archer, Joe Biden's right-hand man, is about to testify that Joe Biden wasn't only involved, Joe Biden was deeply involved, it's got to be game over. Joe Biden must be impeached at a bare minimum. This newest report is explosive. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so of course you guys know the history. Joe Biden's repeated, and I mean repeated, denials like this.
Do you think it was wrong for him to take that position?
No.
Knowing that it was really because that company wanted access to you?
Well, that's not true. You're saying things you do not know what you're talking about. No one said that. Who said that?
Don't you think that it's...
Or this.
But it said, quote, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked. Have you talked to your son about any of this?
I talked to my son. We've communicated. He lives out in California. We communicated a couple times. But look, there is zero evidence of any assertion being made.
Or, of course, many others.
Vice President, as you said, your son Hunter today gave an interview, admitted that he made a mistake and showed poor judgment by serving on that board in Ukraine. Did you make a mistake by letting him? You were the point person on Ukraine at the time, if you can answer.
Look, my son's statement speaks for itself. I did my job. I never discussed a single thing with my son about anything having to do with Ukraine. No one has indicated I have. We've always kept everything separate. Even when my son was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware, we never discussed anything. So there'd be no potential conflict. My son made a judgment. I'm proud of the judgment he made. I'm proud of what he had to say.
He has stated multiple times unequivocally that he has had no involvement and even no communication with Hunter Biden or any of his business associates, and he had no involvement. In fact, he's even claimed that he had no knowledge. He didn't even know what his son was doing. He didn't even know the kind of business that his son was involved with overseas, even though his son was selling direct access to him, right? Well, those denials no longer hold up. We've got this tweet from the Oversight Committee. Joe was on the phone in at least a dozen instances. Hunter put his father, then vice president, on speakerphone with his overseas business partners. In one instance with Biden associate Devon Archer, two Burisma executives explicitly asked Hunter, "Can you ring your dad?" We look forward to speaking with Devon Archer about this developing story. Here's the article with the scoop from the New York Post. Hunter Biden put then VP dad Joe on the phone with business associates at least 24 times. Ex-partner Devon Archer to testify. Archer, who's 48 years old, who is facing jail for his role in a $60 million bond fraud, is scheduled to testify to the House Oversight Committee about meetings that he witnessed that were attended by Joe Biden, either in person or via speakerphone, when Hunter would call his father and introduce him to foreign business partners or prospective investors. We are looking forward very much to hearing from Devon Archer about all the times that he has witnessed Joe Biden meeting with Hunter Biden's overseas business partners when he was vice president, including on speakerphone. I mean, surely at this point, there's no denying what clearly took place. Of course, the Blue Anon, ostrich, head-in-the-sand Democrats are still playing the same ridiculous, disingenuous games that they always do. Here's David Weissman on Twitter writing, "Where's the effing proof?" Oh, I don't know. Maybe all the bank transfers, emails, phone calls, transcripts, WhatsApp text messages. What is it? 5 or 6 witnesses pointing the finger of the FD 1023 FBI document? Where's the evidence? Here's a Democrat shill on MSNBC making the same argument.
They've held literally the same hearing time and time again, because they'll call a witness, interrogate them, and when they don't get the answers that they want, they hold the hearing over again, and then they'll hold it in another committee. And, you know, just this week we had this IRS supposed whistleblower hearing, and we had to vet the witnesses because the Republicans have been calling as their star witnesses folks who are known fugitives from the law, folks who are literally out to grind their political axe against Joe Biden, against Democrats, and literally have no evidence of wrongdoing or other criminal activity.
We're just seeing political pawns grinding the Republican political axe. Yeah, you know, like the registered Democrat whistleblower IRS agent pointing the finger at DOJ corruption. Or what is it, 4 or 5 business associates or people connected in some way to the Bidens or the foreign businesses that they're connected to, all pointing the finger at Joe, willing to testify, the former White House stenographer, laying out the entire scheme pretty much as we know it, as the evidence suggests, and pointing the finger directly at Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and Jake Sullivan. The White House stenographer, the guy who literally followed Joe and wrote a transcript for everything that the then vice president was saying and doing. There's literally no evidence. Show us the evidence. Your head is in the sand. Now, obviously, that's by design. They're playing stupid, pretending as if this doesn't exist. They're hoping that it's going to go the same way that it did with Donald Trump. But of course, like I keep saying, there's a key difference. With Trump, there was never any evidence. There were never any witnesses willing to testify, or credible witnesses, that is. There was never any scorching hot, bombshell, smoking gun evidence. There was nothing. With Joe, they clearly know that he's caught, and now their most intimate of business partners are testifying against them. Devon Archer's got a whole lot of pressure on him, facing a $60 million fraud case. By the way, just shows the company that the Bidens kept around them, a much bigger crime than anything anyone around Donald Trump has ever been accused of. Joe Biden has officially been put in the room. You know, as if this photo wasn't proof enough, or the myriad of other photos, or Tony Bobulinski saying 1,000% that Joe Biden's the big guy, or the FD 1023 document that specifically points to Joe Biden as being the big guy, the WhatsApp message that once again puts Joe Biden literally in the room with Hunter Biden while trying to shake down Henry Zhao, a Chinese CCP-connected, I guess you could call him agent. Joe Biden was in the room multiple times. In fact, it seems like Joe Biden more often than not was in the room, at least when there was important business dealings happening. You know, let's say there was an armed robbery and all the associates were claiming that, hey, this guy was in the room, he was the muscle, he orchestrated it all. He had all the inside connections at the bank, inside information with the police, the FBI. He's essentially the brains behind the operation. We have recorded phone calls and emails corroborating that. We were clearly part of this criminal organization, and we're now willing to testify that he was present during the time of this crime. Well, obviously, if that was just a regular Joe, that would be classified as evidence, huh? But apparently, when your name's Joe Biden, automatically that's not substantial evidence. Give me a freaking break. This is evidence, and it's less than circumstantial because it's not just one little indirect connection. We're seeing a series of connections and patterns. All the dots are being connected. Joe Biden is clearly connected. Multiple witnesses are pointing the finger at him. There's document and email evidence suggesting that he's involved. This is absolute clear evidence of not just involvement, but of a crime. To be the sitting vice president of the United States at the time, and to be using your crackhead son as a proxy to sell policy to foreign nations, that is criminal. That is an illegal practice. The President of the United States was accepting briberies to essentially act like a foreign lobbyist without declaring as a foreign agent while sitting as the Vice President of the United States. That's wild. I mean, that is wild, wild beyond belief. Impeachment at the very least. Federal prison is the right response here. Oh, and just for good measure to keep highlighting these lies, here's Hunter Biden in 2019 also denying that he ever discussed Ukraine with his father.
Did you and your father ever discuss Ukraine?
No. As I said, the only time was after a news account, and it wasn't a discussion in any way. There's no but to this. No, we never did.
Your dad said, I hope you know what you're doing.
I hope you know what you're doing.
I do.
And I said, I do. And that was literally the end of our discussion.
They're liars. They're snakes. They're criminals. We have the proof. Mounting evidence. Impeach the mother you-know-what. That's what I got for you guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we would love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.